Fine-tune your visual direction. Welcome to the second unit, where you begin shaping not only what Midjourney creates, but how it looks. Today's focus is style, the part that influences clarity, mood, and communication. Understanding how style works helps you move from experimenting at random to producing images that feel consistent and intentional. Exploring style. You already shaped images using parameters like R for framing and No for exclusions. Those tools helped you control structure. Another thing that parameters can set is style. But it adds another layer. It affects texture, contrast, detail, and atmosphere, the qualities that shape how a viewer reads your scene. Exploring these elements gives you more control over the final result. Style is built from several visible elements working together, such as color, soft, bold, muted, or bright. Texture, smooth, grainy, painterly. Contrast, strong or subtle. Shapes, geometric or organic. Detail level, minimal or intricate. Noticing these cues helps you describe and refine style more easily. Why prompt phrasing isn't always enough. Throughout the lessons, you've already tried adding phrases like watercolor style or cartoonish to your prompts. Let's see how such descriptions guide Midjourney. Say, you want to design a holiday poster for your office? That conveys the festive atmosphere. You imagine it in traditional Christmas holiday colors. You were thinking about the traditional holiday color scheme. In your opinion, did Midjourney succeed with the task? Yes, it gave me the expected result. No, it used a different color scheme. Discovering style before adjusting it. One thing that helps a lot with defining style is researching different visual directions and references, and then showing them to Midjourney. Here comes another cool feature, mood boards, which allows you to gather references and observe patterns across examples. You gather a few winter-themed images and place them into a mood board. After you've uploaded your images, click Use in Prompt. Midjourney will create a WatchP parameter with a unique number that personalizes your prompt. Then you request whatever you want to see. The image will be similar in style and vibe to the mood board. Choose which features in the pictures came from the mood board. Similar texture or rendering. Color palette. Repeat of the same composition. New subject not in your reference. What mood boards reveal? See? You don't even need to mention colors. Mood boards help you notice which elements repeat across your references. Colors, shapes, textures, or lighting patterns. These shared cues form the style direction your images follow. Style creator. Mood boards are one way to guide a style direction more precisely. Another method is the style creator. It works differently, helping you develop a single style through iteration. Instead of collecting images, you refine a style by selecting the visual outcomes you prefer, step by step, until a consistent look emerges. Creating a style through iteration. The style creator doesn't start with finished references. Instead, it helps you discover a style by iterating on your own prompt. You begin by writing a regular prompt, focusing on subject and idea, not style perfection. After you submit your prompt, Midjourney generates a grid of different styles for the same idea. Each option explores a different visual direction. Your task is simple. Pick the versions that feel closest to what you want. You're not naming the style. You're reacting to it visually. With each selection, Midjourney refines the style based on your choices. After a few rounds, the results begin to stabilize. The colors, textures, and renderings start to feel consistent. At this point, you're no longer browsing styles, but shaping one. Once you see what you like, you can stop selecting and enjoy the result. From direction to nuance. Early iterations define the overall direction. Later ones refine details. Roughly, the first few rounds establish the style. The next several add clarity and consistency. Later iterations focus on subtle differences. This process turns preference into a repeatable visual style. Applying your custom style. Once the style feels right, you can use it in new prompts. Click on it in the right column next to your prompt, It will convert into a style reference parameter and appear in the imagined bar. The subject may change, but the visual treatment stays aligned with the style you shaped. This makes Style Creator especially useful when you want a consistent look without manually adjusting multiple parameters. Which solution fits this situation best? Scenario: you're not sure which visual direction works yet and want to compare several different styles for the same idea before choosing one. Mood boards: writing more style adjectives in the prompt. Style Creator: changing the subject description. Which solution fits this situation best? Scenario: you already like the general look of your images and want to slightly alter it without much change. Style Creator: mood boards, using V-Subtle, adding more descriptive words. Good job! In this lesson, the focus was on defining style and adjusting settings. With the help of Midjourney features, you explored how visual cues shape an image and how Midjourney tools help clarify a style direction before any fine-tuning begins. This step reduces guesswork later and makes stylistic decisions more intentional. What's coming next? Next, you'll start working with controls that directly influence how Midjourney interprets and renders style. These tools allow you to adjust expressiveness, variation, and structure once a visual direction is clear. The style awareness you built here will make those controls easier to understand and apply. Controlling style with parameters. Earlier, you explored style visually, comparing directions, noticing patterns, and shaping a look through mood boards and Style Creator. Now, it's time to take the next step. Today, you'll be diving into fine-tuning and customizing your images with style parameters until they look exactly as you imagined. Let's make you handle complex edits easily. How style parameters work. Style parameters don't change what appears in your image. They change how Midjourney renders it. Each parameter controls a specific aspect of interpretation: realism, variation, experimentation, or consistency. By adjusting them one by one, you learn how to shape results intentionally, instead of guessing. Scenario: luxury men's cosmetics campaign. Imagine you're preparing a commercial photo shoot for a luxury men's cosmetics brand. The visuals must feel confident, premium, and realistic, suitable for ads, websites, and print. The images look great, but the client thinks they're too moody. It made them look like a vampire movie poster, they say. Let's make your images more realistic and clear by adding a new parameter. Comparing default versus raw interpretation. You just created two groups of images from the same prompt. One uses default settings and the other uses raw mode. From the two groups of images, which version looks closer to a traditional commercial photo shoot the client expected? The default version, the raw mode images. What raw mode does. Raw mode, style raw, or simply raw, reduces Midjourney's default stylization and follows your prompt more literally. It's especially useful for commercial photography product shots, realistic portraits, clean, professional visuals. Exploring stylization. You can manage the level of stylization with numbers as well. For this, use the S parameter and add a number indicating how strong the stylization is applied. Previously, we used the default setting of S100. Which image feels more artistic and expressive? The more literal version. The image with higher stylization. What stylization controls? Stylization, bar S, controls how artistic or literal the image becomes. Lower values suit realism. Higher values emphasize interpretation and expression. The default value for stylize is 100, and you can adjust it anywhere between 0 and 1000. Time to experiment. There are times when your visuals require more experimentation and a fresh approach. To let Midjourney's creativity flow, you can try the other two parameters, C, chaos, and W, weirdness. Scenario? Consulting company website. Now, imagine you're designing a website header for a consulting company's annual results page. The image must feel professional, trustworthy, and clean. These turned out great. Let's now experiment a little bit and see what adding some chaos does to them. You can adjust this parameter anywhere, between 0 and 100. What effect from the C parameter did you notice? The results look alike. They just slightly changed. The results are more different from one another. None. What weirdness controls? Weirdness, WW, pushes Midjourney toward unusual or experimental interpretations. It's powerful, but best used intentionally. You can adjust it anywhere between 0 and 3000. What you can control now. Way to go. You've learned how individual parameters influence style. Raw, baseline realism. Stylization, artistic versus literal. Style weight, strength of that direction. Chaos, variation, weirdness, experimentation. Each affects a single dimension, and that's intentional. What comes next? So far, you've adjusted parameters one by one. In the next lesson, you'll start combining them, building controlled setups for real projects like branding, campaigns, and content systems. That's where style stops being adjusted and starts being designed. From adjustments to decisions. Up to this point, you've learned how individual parameters behave. You've adjusted them, compared results, and seen clear cause and effect changes. In real projects, however, you rarely tweak one parameter in isolation. You make decisions under constraints, balancing consistency, expression, clarity, and delivery requirements at the same time. This lesson is about building style systems, parameter setups that solve real creative problems reliably. A shift in thinking. In earlier lessons, the question was simple: what does this control do? Now the question changes. What is the goal? What must stay consistent? Where can variation exist? When does creativity help? And when does it hurt? You'll work through scenarios where there is no perfect answer, only better or worse trade-offs. Scenario: brand campaign carousel. Your men's cosmetics campaign from the previous lesson created a buzz and gained wide attention. Now, you're hired as a brand designer for a women's hair products campaign. The client needs images for a social carousel, and they used this sample of your work as a style reference. You can easily reuse it as a style reference in Midjourney, with a new prompt, as well as set up how heavily this stylization is applied using the OSLW parameter. First attempt feedback. You generated several images using the prompt above. Individually, they look good, but together, something feels off. Feedback from the client. Images feel different in mood. They are far from the reference and don't look consistent. Let's fix this now. What changes did you notice in the second group of images when you adjusted the style weight? They vary more from one another. Take none. They are more consistent in style. Great job on the campaign. Your client is now satisfied with the result. The images are consistent and various at the same time. Let's now look at another scenario. Scenario? Expressive, but trustworthy. Now, imagine you're working as an editorial illustrator on a magazine cover. The art director wants something expressive and artistic, but still clear and professional. Too controlled feels dull, your client says. Let's take a risk and try another one with more variety. Pushing the limits. Too abstract starts to feel confusing. These versions are visually interesting, but the message becomes harder to read. This isn't failure. It's useful information. Which adjustments help restore clarity without removing expression? Enabling raw mode. Increasing weirdness further. Removing abstraction entirely. Reducing chaos and weirdness. Why this works. You didn't eliminate creativity, you framed it. Expression now supports the idea instead of overwhelming it. This kind of balance is common in editorial work, where visuals must attract attention and communicate. Good job. Seeing the pattern. Let's pause and look at what you've done so far. In the campaign carousel, you adjusted parameters to protect consistency. In the editorial illustration, you adjusted parameters to balance expression and clarity. The prompts were different. The parameters were different, but the thinking process stayed the same. That's the shift this lesson is about. Great job! You can now build repeatable visual systems, balance creativity with constraints, diagnose problems before fixing them, move confidently between exploration and delivery. This is the core skill behind professional AI image workflows. Closing the unit. You've completed the Explore Techniques and Styles unit. From here on, you're equipped not just to generate images, but to design outcomes with intention, consistency, and control.